Welcome to Strengths Champion Solutions, where we help you to grow stronger, work smarter, and lead wiser. And today, we're going to be talking about your recipe to turn raw talent into refined strength. I'm your host, Brent Bannon, MCC, and also the world's first Gallup certified strengths coach. And today I want to talk about my wife and how I have seen her turn her raw talent into a refined strength. And I purposefully use the word recipe because it has to do with the strength of cooking. So I hope you enjoyed this episode and get some great ideas also for not only helping yourself turn your talent into strengths, but also how do you mentor and coach and develop others' raw talent so that they can perform in a strengths performance that is truly world-class and refined. Well, first of all, you'll notice this picture in front of you, and it has a picture of a little girl who is making mud pies. And you also see on the opposite side a very refined dinner that has been put together. And I wanted to use these images as well as a 4-part recipe to help you understand how to turn raw talent into refined strength. Now, first of all, something that I learned from my late mentor, Kurt Liesveld, is that raw talent, first of all, is defined as, from Gallup, natural occurring thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that can be productively applied. Now, many times we associate that with personality. Thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. That's actually the substance of raw human talent. But it also is talent that can be productively applied. Now, when we talk about strength, it's actually different than raw talent. Gallup defines a strength as consistent, near perfect performance in an activity. That's really important to understand, is that a true strength is talent that has been applied into an activity. In this particular case, I'm going to share with you today, the activity is cooking. And it is near perfect, world-class performance. It is consistent. And today I want to use my wife as a great example of this process. And by the way, if you're curious of what Rhonda's top talents are, I have her strengths mug right here. Her number one talent is empathy, relator, adaptability, positivity, and consistency. That's her top 5. If you look at her 6 through 10, she actually has harmony, developer, maximizer, belief, and connectedness. So it'll be interesting for you to share which of her strengths do you hear in this particular story today. So first of all, whenever you look at raw talent, you're going to see 4 characteristics. Number one, you're going to see that this person is uninformed. They really don't have much knowledge. They don't have much information about this particular activity. So you look at this little girl, and she's never read any books about cooking. She has probably never discovered any recipes for cooking certain dishes. So she has a passion for cooking. She probably saw someone cooking. Maybe she got excited about it. And by the way, passion is a great way to help you spot potential talent. But just because you have passion does not automatically make you world class at something. I absolutely enjoy dancing, and I am not world class at it. Just ask any of my friends. I do not have raw talent. And even with practice, I am not even average. I'm below average. Now, raw talent also is what we call inexperienced. So, in other words, the person who has potential in this particular area, but they just absolutely haven't practiced. They haven't actually experienced what it's like. This little girl has very limited experience about cooking. This could be one of her first times that she's ever attempted to cook something. And again, somebody with a raw talent may have a passion, but they have very little knowledge and information. They have very little experience, and raw talent tends to be more self-focused instead of other focused. And you can see in this particular picture that I've chosen that this little girl is having a blast. It's bringing her joy. It's a smile on her face. And whether it's a brother or sister, we can't quite tell in this picture, but this sibling is down there and it has mud all over them. And here's the fourth characteristic of a raw talent, and that is unproductive. It's unproductive. So there really isn't a level of success at this point. There really isn't a level of producing something that is meaningful, consumable, helpful for other people. And so right now, raw talent is I have very little knowledge or information. There is very little experience of skill or practice. It tends to be more self-focused, and also it is typically unproductive. And you can see many people like this. And if I was just to give you another couple of examples, I think communication as a raw talent is something you see very many times. Someone may have a natural talent or a gift for public speaking, for putting stories and words together that is entertaining. However, they may have never gained information about public speaking skills. They may have never read a book about public speaking. Maybe they never practiced public speaking as a keynoter or as a facilitator. And by the way, if you go to Toastmasters, you not only gain knowledge and information, but you also practice the art of public speaking and leadership. And you get feedback on that to help you grow your skill and your proficiency in communication. But also communication, many times when it's raw, it's more about, hey, I just want to hear myself. I just enjoy, articulating and verbalizing, but I may not be in tune with how productive is it for my listener? How well am I connecting with my listener? And so we absolutely know that if you want to help someone go from raw to refined in communication, then they need to get information about high-level communication, that there is not only the verbal, but the nonverbal, that there is the listening part of communication. And so taking classes, getting into programs where you can be evaluated and you can practice the art and the science of public speaking or personal communication, and learning how to make sure that I'm turning my motives in my communication more towards the audience, more towards the individuals, connecting with them versus just sounding good to myself, is helping us to be more productive. So that means the communication brings value, it brings meaning, it brings something that inspires or encourages and enlightens. It gives wisdom. It's not about me, but it's productively applied to someone else. Now, in this case, I'm talking about today with Rhonda. We call her Ra. And I want to share with you how she went from raw to refined in cooking. And I've been with this young lady for 38 years of marriage and 40 years in relationship. So I've seen her since she was pretty young, right? And I remember when we first dated that her mother was a good cook, but Rhonda really didn't have that much desire or passion about cooking. In fact, she ate very little. And so as we started early on in our marriage, I remember Rhonda started getting interested in cooking. And we ate a lot of guacamole, by the way, and chips early on in our marriage. And by the way, she makes one of the best guacamoles I have ever tasted. She knows how to put all the spices together. So it's just incredible. But she went from cooking, creating guacamole to starting to research recipes. And then she started watching television shows about cooking. And then she started following world-class cooks and chefs. And we became part of a dinner club. And so not only would we go and try different foods and dinner with other people, but then we had to host and have people come. And so she started putting this pressure on herself to learn, to practice, to experience different kinds of foods. And we became foodies, no doubt about it. Here is a picture of Rhonda and I on a vacation, and also at one of our restaurants that we just enjoyed immensely. So we started experimenting, going out to eat and trying different foods. And so the other thing is that you can see with Rhonda's strengths of adaptability, she really has this ability to respond to the need that is in front of her, whether that's to people or whether that's in cooking. I've seen it in cooking amazingly. Like she will create a new dish. And by the way, she does get a little bored with the same dish. So she may like to experiment and pivot. And if she doesn't have a particular ingredient or spice, she will adapt and use her connectedness to think of, oh, I could just use more lime here or lemon, or I could use a different type of vegetable if I don't have a particular vegetable. So one of the things that amazes me about Rhonda and her talents, and then how she has refined the talents into a strength of cooking, is she is very much a giver. And she loves and enjoys not just cooking for herself, but she loves cooking for me. She loves cooking for our family. She loves cooking for friends. She has cooked for many of my clients when we have had mastermind programs. And so it's amazing how selfless and how much she serves other people through her cooking. Ask any of her friends, ask her family, and you will be amazed at how much they have been blessed and not just fed well, but also it's the whole experience. And by the way, one of Rhonda's saying, which I just admire so much, is that everyone has to eat. Why not make it special? Everyone has to eat. Why not make it special? So there's this part of her that wants to make the eating experience special for others. And so it's extremely productive. It's not only for herself. In fact, who do you think people want to eat with during Thanksgiving or during Christmas or during a special holiday? They want Rhonda or Rara to be cooking. Now, not only has she continued this journey of creating a strength of cooking, but she's also inspired so many other people to develop their cooking talents. Now, many people don't have the passion to cook, but there are many people who would love to have a mentor who would give them recipes and, share their wisdom and their best practices and their shortcuts of being able to cook. And our son calls Rhonda almost daily, seriously, almost daily. And he will ask about, hey, what kind of sauce do you put in this? And what kind of, spice do you put here? Oh, yeah. How did you cook that particular dish? And you can see him and his wife, Kristen, becoming these amazing cooks and chefs. One of the stories that I love about Rhonda is that one particular event, some of our best friends, in fact, we were all part of a dinner club together, they had put their son through the New York chef school. I'm going blank on what you actually call it. It's actually one of the highest level programs of being mentored and taught how to be a world-class chef. And he had completed his program. And to help celebrate, he was in town, and our good friend, the parents of Jeff, asked Rhonda to cook the meal to celebrate this world-class chef. And it was a challenge that she was nervous about, but she was willing to take a risk. And ever since that time that she took that risk and she, used her talents and productively applied them, she has just blossomed. And so when you think about your own talents, which ones of your talents are still raw? It's uninformed, it's inexperienced, it's too self-focused, it's not productive. Many of us go through a lifetime with raw talents. We've never been mentored or coached, gained information, training to help us go from raw to refined. What activity do you want to be world-class in? Is it singing? Is it cooking? Is it management? Is it sales? It could be any activity in the world. The question is, what are your natural, reoccurring thoughts, feelings, behaviors that could be productively applied? What are those? Getting a language for that, and then learning how to add knowledge, skills, practice, your values, making it more productive is something you absolutely can do. And I can tell you for myself, one particular area is I've had this raw talent to have conversations with human beings. And so my fascination with human beings and the individuality and the uniqueness and the strengths of human beings is in my talent of individualization. And so since 1990, I started pursuing education around psychology, counseling, coaching, putting myself through hours and hours of coursework and books and all kinds of experiences, and then putting myself into supervised experiences, hearing myself do coaching and counseling and getting feedback from mentors, and putting myself through a program like the International Coaching Federation that demands high quality skills. And so going through that process, now I've achieved that master certified coach level, which doesn't mean I know it all about coaching, but means that I know that there are many other things I need to keep growing in. But my point is this, is that it takes not just that 10,000 hours of intentional focus. It takes the process of knowledge, skills, practice, values pointed in a wise way, becoming world-class to the place that you are truly valuable, productive, and people are willing to pay you well because of the value that you bring with your refined strength. I'll close on this. I think it's easy for our brain to realize that a chunk of black coal is like raw talent. But under pressure, many times for years, that coal is what turns into a unique, multifaceted, valuable diamond. That is what a strength really is. It's a valuable gem, diamond. So I hope today you're inspired. I'd love to hear your questions, your comments on this video. And by the way, if you would like my workbook on how to turn raw talent into refined, you can absolutely download it for free in my Strengths Champion Toolkit, which I've also placed in this live stream. And maybe you're a person that says, Brent, I need a mentor, a coach, a mastermind, a strengths-based mastermind to grow as an entrepreneur, to grow as a coach, facilitator, to grow as a strong leader. I have 3 different masterminds, strengths-based masterminds, that you can also explore and see if you're a good fit. So until next time, continue to grow stronger, work smarter, and lead wiser.